But there's no telling how the dinosaurs were affected by this substance, although scientists care more about the discovery because it expands our knowledge of early grasses, which eventually evolved to become human food crops like corn and wheat. The rest of us are likely more interested in the possibility that dinosaurs were tripping. And that's the way it is for the week of February 23rd, 2015. I'm Thom Hartmann on Science and Green Rooms.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. The story of what Mark Dayton has done in Minnesota, and I'm paying particular attention to this, and not just because it's a fascinating story. There's a great piece about it that was written by Carl Gibson and posted over at the Huffington Post, I believe this is. But also, I will be in Minnesota tomorrow. I'll be there for the Blue State Ball, and am950radio.com is the website. If you're in the Minneapolis area and you haven't signed up, or you're going to be in the Minneapolis area tomorrow night, say what? It's at Aria, right, in downtown Minneapolis, and it's am950radio.com is going to be a lot of fun. But anyhow, looking at Minnesota rather. You know, the previous governor was Tim Pawlenty. Tim Pawlenty, Mr. White Bread, you know, he was Minnesota's Scott Walker, or at least he was supposed to be. He said he was the first fiscally conservative governor of Minnesota in its history. Right. And he was going to make Minnesota prosperous the way that, you know, Sam Brownback and Scott Walker and Rick Scott and Rick Perry and all these other Republicans have done. Well, none of them have created prosperity. Poverty has increased in all of these states, but still. So anyhow, Mark Dayton becomes the governor, and he inherits literally, from Tim Pawlenty, a $6.2 billion budget deficit. His first day in office, $6.2 billion in the hole is Minnesota, because Tim Pawlenty would not raise taxes. You know, all the time that he was governor, between 2003 and 2010, Pawlenty only added 6,200 jobs to Minnesota, and the only tax he raised was on cigarettes. He raised the price of the tax on cigarettes by 75 cents a pack. That was it. So anyhow, Mark Dayton comes in, and the first thing he does during his first 4 years is he raises the income tax on people making over $150,000 a year, and on couples earning over $250,000 a year when filing jointly. He raises that state income tax from 7.85 to 9.85%, 2 percentage points, raises the state income tax. This is a $2.1 billion tax increase on rich people in the state of Minnesota. He also raises the minimum wage to $9.50 an hour. It's not gonna fully phase in until 2018, but he raises Minnesota's minimum wage. And he passed a state law guaranteeing equal pay for women. So what happened? Well, when Governor Mark Dayton, who, by the way, is a billionaire. This guy is an heir to the Target fortune, right? Target department stores or whatever they call them, you know. And he's literally a billionaire with a B. But he's a Democrat. He's not a right-wing billionaire. He's a wide-awake, coherent, thoughtful, intelligent billionaire. Yeah, there are a bunch of them out there, actually. And when he was proposing raising taxes on rich people in the state of Minnesota, and when he was proposing raising the minimum wage to help poor people in the state of Minnesota, Republicans were freaking out. Mark Uglum, one of the state representatives in Minnesota, said, the job creator, this is a verbatim quote, the job creators, the big corporations, the small corporations, they'll all leave. It's all dollars and cents to them. Oh, my God. End of quote. oh my God, we're raising taxes on job creators and rich people. It's going to be a disaster, right? This is how Republicans react to things like this. So what were the results? Keep in mind, Tim Pawlenty, who is governor from 2003 until 2010, presided over an increase in the number of jobs in the state of Minnesota by 6,200 jobs during that period of time. 6,000 jobs. Mark Dayton makes these changes. And between 2011 and 2015, Governor Dayton has added 172,000 new jobs to Minnesota's economy. That's 168,800 more than in Dayton's first term. Again, quoting from Carl Gibson's piece in the Huffington Post. 165,000 more jobs than Pawlenty added in both of his terms combined. This is remarkable. By late 2013, Minnesota's private sector job growth exceeded pre-recession levels, and the state's economy was the fifth fastest growing in the United States. Forbes even ranked Minnesota the ninth best state for doing business. Scott Walker's Wisconsin came in number 32 on that list. 6,230 more Minnesotans filed in the top income tax bracket in 2013, just 1 year after the tax increases went through. So actually, more people ended up paying more taxes, or ended up making more money as a result of the increase in the economy in Minnesota under Mark Dayton than all the jobs that were created under Tim Pawlenty. And that's because the job creators are not the rich people. The job creators are the minimum wage workers. And if you raise the minimum wage, as Mark Dayton has done in Minnesota, guess what happens? You raise the minimum wage, and the job creators, the true job creators, the people who spend 100% of their paycheck every week, those folks go out and create more demand in the economy. And that demand then causes employers to say, and manufacturers to say, hey, we need more of this stuff because people are buying it. Let's hire a few more employees to make it, or deliver it, or sell it, or whatever the case may be. By the way, just anecdotally, parenthetically, have you been following the news? Jihadi John, the guy who beheaded all those people in the ISIS video, it turns out he's some whack job from London. They've identified him. But back to Minnesota. As of now, keep in mind, when Tim Pawlenty left, Mr. Republican, in fact, he thought he was going to become president based on this, he left a budget deficit of $6 billion. Right now, Minnesota has a budget surplus of $1 billion. And Governor Dayton says he's going to take at least a third of that money and put it into, drumroll, public schools. Now, what has that done? That has caused more people to want to move to Minnesota, which has pumped up Minnesota's economic confidence level so that it is now higher than any other state in the United States. Minnesota, where I'll be tomorrow. A great success story. And then on top of that, people say, well, it's maybe it's, he did it because it's a bunch of liberals in the state. Sorry, Mark Dayton had an all-Republican legislature for the first 2 years of his governorship. And he still got a lot of this stuff done. They say, well, he must be some kind of class warrior. No, I'm sorry, he's a billionaire. He's just doing the thing that makes sense. Mark Dayton, by the way, he didn't have to shove this down people's throats. He didn't have to lie about it. Scott Walker lied to everybody. He said, oh, no, after he told that billionaire lady, remember a couple of years ago, she said, what are we going to do about the unions in this state? And they didn't realize they were on camera. And he says, Scott Walker says, I'm going to use divide and conquer on them. We're going to go after the public employee unions first and then the private unions. So that got brought up during the campaign when Scott Walker was running for re-election, and he said, no. We're not going to destroy the private unions. We just wanted to take out the public unions. Well, guess what's going through the Wisconsin legislature right now? Destroy the public unions as well, or the private unions as well. In other words, unions from average businesses. So Mark Dayton didn't need to lie to people the way that Scott Walker did. He said what he was going to do, and he did it. In fact, he actually made it easier for people to vote in Minnesota by creating an online voting registration form. Minnesota. They've got it figured out. And just quietly, as Minnesotans are, just straightforward, do it.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
You don't grandstand it. You don't pontificate about it. You don't yell about it. You just do it. And he did. It's working. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you and Cliff.